Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Environmental Justice Now. My name is Leah Jones, and I am the organizing coordinator and water justice organizer here at Virginia Interfaith Power and Light. Thanks for tuning into another episode. Before we get started today, as usual, I'd like to do a brief land acknowledgement. While we are on a video call and many of us join in from different places, it's important that we remind ourselves that we gather on the unceded land of the indigenous peoples. I'm joining in from so-called Richmond, Virginia, and I am currently located on the land of the Powhatan and Chickahominy peoples. If you are unsure of whose land you are on and you would like to find out, you can always visit native.ca to find out. So this week marked an important week. This week actually marked the beginning and the start of our 2023 General Assembly session here in Virginia. This is, in fact, another busy session, just like last year, especially considering a political climate that also has not changed very much since last year. It's another year with our work cut out for us, right? This, of course, means that we need all hands on deck and as many environmental justice advocates as we can to participate in session and lobby with their legislators, supporting and protecting the progress that we've made thus far as a state in Virginia, and also hopefully propelling us forward into a better future, right? So in this session specifically, VIPL, what we'll be doing and prioritizing this session, of course, is continuing our support for environmental justice and common sense, just legislation to strengthen and defend laws that will work to protect the health of all Virginia residents and maintain our quality of life. So specifically, we support the following policy goals. This includes protecting all Virginians' access to energy, water, and gas utility services in times of crisis. We are also working to protect the health of all Virginians statewide by offering guidance for a healthy community strategy for all of our localities and municipalities in the states, comprehensive planning. And we'll go in further to talk a little bit more about what that specifically means in just a few minutes. But in addition to those two things, we'll also be, of course, working to protect Virginia's water resources and increase funding for water infrastructure. Of course, as we've seen, that is something that's necessary here in Virginia. And additionally, we cannot go without saying we are working to protect the reduction of greenhouse gases in all industry sectors, especially in the energy and transportation sectors. An important policy that we're protecting this GA session that goes hand in hand with the reduction of our greenhouse gases is, of course, defending the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative here in Virginia, as well as the Virginia Clean Economy Act and the Virginia Environmental Justice Act. So definitely some big strides. We're hoping to make this session, but if we're not able to make those big strides, at the very least, we want to protect and defend the progress that we have made thus far and not wind back on any bills that have proven to be positive for Virginians, right? So moving on now to talk a little bit more about the bills that we are leading on this session that I mentioned earlier. This first one that I want to talk about, we actually discussed on our show just last week with our guest from Clean Virginia, Diana. Thanks again for coming. Shout out to you. But a little bit more about our shutoffs bill. In case you missed last week's episode, the bill number is HB 2283. Disaster or emergency weather extremes disconnection prohibitions for certain utilities is the title of the bill. It is sponsored by Delegate Shin. So specifically what this bill does is limit the ability of electric, gas, and water utilities to disconnect customers from critical services during extreme weather events or during periods of crisis, like what we saw with the COVID-19 pandemic. Specifically, this bill is asking, per SEC recommendations, to establish a disconnection policy for any declared public health emergency and formalizing disconnection policies during either very hot or cold weather conditions. For example, when forecasted temperatures are at or above 95 degrees or below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So in addition to those temperature recommendations, we are also, this bill is also going to suspend service disconnections for non-payment during non-business days. That includes Friday. And additionally, this bill is encouraging utilities to provide customers with areas and subjects to shut off an opportunity to enroll in a repayment plan. So for folks who are at risk of at risk of being from their utilities or having their utilities shut off rather, that the utility, it's asking that the utility provide an option to enroll in a repayment plan. So lastly, what this bill will do is require utilities to annually report on the frequency and reasons for shutoffs due to unpaid bills. And this one is really important, and we're hoping that we're able to make this happen with this bill, especially considering that in Virginia, it can be very difficult to find data and the stats around shutoffs, which is actually very interesting in comparison to other states because that information actually is very easily accessible and open to the public. So that is something that we are pushing for in this bill as well. The great part also about HB 2283 is that we do have a matching Senate bill that is moving through the Senate. That is SB 1447. The bill is practically identical. So hopefully coming from both ends, both the House and the Senate, we can really get some great traction this year on this bill, continuing on our efforts from last year. Of course, you're welcome for the resources. Please stay tuned also to the end where we'll be able to share more about our fact sheets and talking points in case you want to lobby yourself and advocate for these bills as well. So moving on now to another bill that we're leaning on this session. This is the comprehensive planning bill that I mentioned earlier at the start of the show. This bill is HB 1798. This bill is sponsored by Delegate Simons and also has a matching bill in the Senate that's sponsored by Senator McClellan. This bill is the Comprehensive Planning Healthy Community Strategy Bill, and it asks that Virginia allows localities, cities, and counties, municipalities to incorporate and increase focus on community health into their regular comprehensive planning processes and efforts. So being extra mindful and having legislation in place to make sure that when localities and municipalities are doing their planning, they're including and considering the health of the communities that they are in, right? So if a locality decides that it would like to improve community health and environmental quality, the General Assembly should definitely empower them to do so with a bill like this. So specifically, this legislation would allow Virginia localities to consider a healthy community strategy in their planning and provide guidance in their comprehensive plans for raising positive community health outcomes by identifying different things like siting of air, water, and other pollution sources within the county or locality's jurisdiction. And additionally, localities may also encourage feedback from those impacted communities and create their own plan, incorporating strategies and programs that could target and improve the planning process. So making things more hands-on for the communities while also considering the health of our communities as we try to grow and plan and develop our communities I think this bill is really an important step in that direction to make sure we are considering the health of our communities, especially as it relates to how it impacts the environments our communities, but also especially in environmental justice communities, right? So those are the bills that we are leading on. Both of these bills potentially could be up in committee this upcoming Monday in their respective committees. We're still not totally sure, but they could be on the docket in the schedule. So if you are interested in testifying, please be on the lookout. An opportunity could be coming this upcoming Monday. So in addition to those bills, there are others that we are also supporting in coalition with a lot of our other great organizers and advocates that from groups that others of you may be familiar with, like CCAN and Sierra Club and Clean Virginia. I won't go through the list of sharing them all here because that may be a bit overwhelming. So I won't share them all on the show today. But if you would like to learn more about the other bills that we are supporting, you can always visit our webpage, our GA 2023 webpage. There you will find our legislative priorities document where you can see all of the bills we are supporting and opposing right there listed all in one place, and as well as including the information to learn more about the bills as well. So please check that out if you are interested in learning more about the bills that we're supporting and also opposing. Be on the lookout for being vigilant about this session, which makes the perfect transition to just a couple of bills, well, rather just specifically one that we wanted to make sure we highlighted this episode, first week of GA. Bills to be on the lookout for, bad bills we're working against, that could be working against the progress that we've made and are hoping to continue to make. As I mentioned earlier, one of the priorities that we are focusing on this year is, of course, protecting RGGI and protecting Virginia's place in the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. And a part of that goes hand in hand with the Community Flood Preparedness Fund as well. So protecting that. And one bill that has come to the forefront that we've seen is SB 1001, actually. SB 1001, it's sponsored by Senator Stewart. This bill is actually repealing the Clean Energy and Community Flood Preparedness Act and directs the director of the Department of Environmental Quality to take all steps necessary to suspend the Commonwealth's participation in the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. So heavy hitter, right? Definitely expected, however. We knew that there were going to be bills coming to try and repeal RGGI, just as we saw last year. So this is definitely another to be on the lookout for and to make sure you're letting your legislators know that this is a bad bill. We want Virginia to stay in RGGI, and Virginians have already began benefiting immensely from the program. So this is definitely a bad bill, and we want to make sure that it does not make it far in session, right? So be on the lookout for that. Advocate as you can. Share with your neighbors. As I mentioned earlier, we do have tons of resources available for folks if they want to get involved, if they want to lobby quickly. We will also have an action toolkit coming very soon where you can find everything all in one place. Our bills that we're supporting, the bills that we're against, what they are, what they mean, why they're important, as well as talking points and even tweets that you can easily copy and paste into your own social media to share with your network. So please check out those resources once again on our webpage. And in addition to those resources, we have a couple action opportunities coming in the next few weeks and throughout the GA session that we're hoping you all can make it to. One big event happening next week is actually Day for All People. This is an annual event where we encourage faith communities, people of faith from all over the state, to come together and lobby for the issues, right? And we will be presenting a workshop there, further explaining on a deeper level the bills that we are supporting and advocating for this session. Specifically, we'll be talking about shutoffs next week during Day for All People. So if you're able to make it out, please do so. It'll be a great day of action and lobbying where you can learn more about what we're doing, but also just learn more about lobbying in general and what it means to advocate. So in addition to Day for All People, if you aren't able to make it, you can register at this link here on the screen and in the comments. But if you aren't able to make Day for All People, there's another opportunity for action that you can join us in. We will be having this year a GA Action of the Week call, where every Monday we will get together for those who would like to join and just really highlight an action for the week. So especially with the upcoming holiday, MLK Day, I think that would be a great way to show your service and advocate, use your civic voice and civic power to speak for your community and show your support for your neighbors. So we will be having that call every week on Mondays at 6:30. You can learn more about where we are in session, what we're advocating for, what the bills may be up, what we think could come of the committee meetings or decisions, strategy planning, that sort of thing. So once again, if you aren't able to make Day for All People, we will be having these GA calls every week. So that's another opportunity for you to take action with us and join us and be in community with us as we are advocating this GA session. So those are the really huge events and opportunities to work with us. We have in the next coming weeks. We hope to see you all there. And of course, we will be back again next week, same place, same time on Friday to continue talking about GA, where you can hear the updates of where these bills are, when we are going to need you all's help the most on certain bills, especially like the one I mentioned earlier, repealing RGGI, and especially the bills that we're leading on utility shutoffs and comprehensive planning. So please join us for those updates as well if you're able to join us during your lunch hour. As usual, if you want to keep up with VIPL, you can always join our supporters list to keep up with everything that we're doing, not just GA. So yes, if you're able to check that out as well, please do so. And we hope to see you all again next week for more GA updates, especially also in the coming weeks at GA if possible as well, and our events. Thank you everyone who's tuned in, and we look forward to getting to work together. Have a great weekend, everyone. See you next week. Bye.